Hi, I'm Heather Noel from theGivingGameFoundation.com. You're about to hear a private session that brought about emotional healing. If you listen carefully, you will see that this session is a blueprint that you can apply to yourself. Today's topic will be free will and saying no. If you listen to the channeled session that Amelia was referring to today on free will, you will have a better understanding of what that is and how it works. But it's really important to understand that you do have free will and that you acknowledge other people's free will. And the most important thing to know is that your ability to say no is what makes you a sovereign being. So if you think about it, and you look in terms of, for instance, the vaccine, that you have very specific feelings about that, and you're very clear that that would be a no for you, right? And so if you look at it from that point of view, that is a strong no. And now look at how you feel in this situation where you want to say no to a relative coming to visit. And we will ask you this: is it the same strength of no that you actually feel? So do you understand what we're saying? So in other words, you know that if someone came to your door and said, here's a vaccine, you would say no, and there would be a strong feeling of no. There would be no question in your mind, right? Because it's a clear, that's how you feel. Now, pretend that you're having a dream. And in your dream, you know, someone comes to your door, no to the vaccine. Then this relative comes to your door. Now you're in a dream, so there's really no guilt because it's just how your dream is going to go, right? So you're awake enough in the dream to just follow how you feel. So what is the strength of the no? So let's say the strength of no to the vaccine is 100%. Then what is the strength of the no that you're feeling toward your relative coming to stay with you? On the scale of 1 to 100, with 100 being absolutely not. How strongly do you feel this?
I feel 100% no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you see how you can see that. It's really important to see it. There's nothing wishy-washy about it. It's just you have to get out of, well, what would this person feel? Well, if you're dreaming, you don't have to worry about someone else, how they would feel, what their perceptions are. You would just be in the dream, and if you're aware in the dream, you're like, oh, well, that would be just a horrible dream to have. I mean, I don't want to have this dream, correct? Right? I don't want to dream this. Here I am dreaming. I can dream anything. Why would I dream that up? Correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the first step. Recognize that. So if you think about this idea, do you get a little bit, do you have concerns of anyone forcing you to be vaccinated? In other words, okay, so what people are worrying about now, the latest worry, or one of the later worries, is the idea of forced vaccinations. So our question to you is, would you figure out another way? Like if people say, well, you have to get vaccinated if you want to work at this job, would you quit?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So when you see this, when you know that you would quit, and then the thing that people are like, and we have to say it's a bit of a creation, but everything is being created all the time. But there are people who are very concerned, and especially in other countries, that people will come to their door and try to vaccinate them and try to force it and try to make it like, or you can't buy any food, or you can't do this or that unless you do what we tell you to do. Now notice the level at which you would find another way, wouldn't you? You wouldn't just go, oh, screw it, I'm going to get vaccinated, it's just not worth it. You would find another way, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Totally.
Right? Okay. So this is what we're saying. There is no difference. You both have the exact same energy around saying no to this family member who wants to visit. It's the same. It's just that you've got a story around this family member about why you must say yes when you want to say no. But you don't have that story around a vaccine. And you don't have to go to a great deal of effort to say no. In other words, if someone came to your house and said you need to be vaccinated, you need to be wearing a mask or whatever it is, you wouldn't spend a lot of time talking to them and going, hey, have you seen this scientific research? Do you realize that there's all these doctors around the world and there's all this information that you don't know? You wouldn't waste your breath, would you? You would just say no. Exactly. Same thing. It is not up to you or your mom to come up with a lot of, and da-da-da, la-la-la. Just say no. Just say it's not going to work out. That's it. That's all you need to say. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to do anything. And when the person writes back and wait, well, you said this, blah, 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 you just, same thing. Here's the thing. This is what it is today, and the answer is no, period. No. You can't come here. It's just like if you were on a list of, these nurses who are going through the neighborhood and will be at your house on this day at that time, right? Would you wait till they showed up, or would you write back and go, absolutely not, don't come here. You're not welcome here. And would you go to a lot of lengths to explain yourself? Or would you just say no?
Say no. Yeah, say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's the same thing. Now, if you take the story away, you look at the energy, look at the emotion behind everything. There is a lot of energy about you're absolutely clear about saying no in both cases, right? The only difference between a relative coming to visit you is that you have been raised with certain beliefs about who you are and how, when you're a nice person, that nice people don't say no. They're like, oh, okay, you accommodate others, right? Have you seen that in your own family and seen that? That's how you've been raised that way to some extent, especially when you're female. There's such a strong energy of be a nice person, do the right thing, accommodate others. Don't put yourself first. Whatever you want, that doesn't matter. Take care of others first. Have you learned that at all? Do you know what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's subtle, isn't it? It's very subtle energy. It's not like you went to school and you take a test. You just learn it by whatever's going on around you, by however your mom is and however your grandma is and however people are around you. You just kind of pick it up. So it takes a minute to really get out of that programming, because if you see this, you can understand that everybody's been programmed. Everybody, your grandparents, your mother, your dad, you, that it's all this programming, and nobody does it on purpose, right? You just grow up with a certain philosophy and a certain idea of what is love, but that is not love. It's like this is fear. It's not love, and that's a really big, important difference to understand what is fear and what is love. Fear will not feel comfortable in your body. Love always feels comfortable in your body. There's no question about it. You will feel good in your body. Okay? So you know how that feels. You know how it feels when you feel absolutely at home. And don't you think it's interesting that this idea, feeling at home, right? The issue is someone is going to come into my home, and then I will no longer feel at home. So you know what it feels like to feel at home, right? You feel loving. You feel great. You feel good about your home. It's the place that you can always go to, right? If you have a harmonious home, like all kinds of things can be going on in the world, and then you get to go home. Or you just, if your world is based on getting on the internet and stuff like that, you can turn it off and just be at home. So look at it this way. If you look at it from the point of view of, let's say that you both had your own little children, and let's say that you both had, let's say, 3-year-old daughters or 4-year-old daughters, and they were going to be so uncomfortable with this person. They were like, Mommy, I really don't like this person. I'm so uncomfortable every time she comes here. Would you stick up for your little girl and say no?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Mhm. So that's what you have to look at. There would be just notice there would be no question whatsoever about saying no to someone who wanted to intrude into your space. Notice that they were not invited. They invited themselves, and then there was a sense of obligation, which is fear. But if you had children and you knew for a fact this was going to really upset them and that they didn't want this person around, let's put it to you in a really, really different way. Suppose this was a male who was a pedophile, and you knew it, and they were going to come stay with you and your little girls. You think you would go for that?
No.
Right? Okay. So even if this pedophile man said, hey, this is when I'm coming to visit, I bought the tickets, I'll be there, would you go, oh, well, maybe we should make a little accommodation for Uncle Bob because, and he's family, or would it just be a clear no?
It would be a clear, definite no way, no.
Right? Okay, so let us look at this energetically for a minute. This person that is insisting on coming to stay with you, and we shouldn't even say insisting. They put it out, and your mom said yes, right? So the thing to look at here is that there is a feeling of definite intrusion, right? Someone intruding into your home. It doesn't feel like, even though you would open the door, the energy that is coming into your house. Now, let yourself look at her energy. Now, Rebecca, you go first. What do you see? Look at the colors. Look at the energy. What do you see?
Oh, of this relative entering the house?
Yep.
Really murky gray and cloudy, kind of heavy.
Yep. Audra, what do you see?
Well, I see like a gray cloud around them.
Okay. So what do you see in your house right now without them? What color do you see in your home?
Probably like a pink. It's all calm in here.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't know, clear, just white energy, just good.
Beautiful. Now, just imagine your cousin coming into the house. What happens to the pink, lovely energy and the clear energy? What happens when she comes in?
It fades away. It's not pink anymore.
Yeah, she takes over the energy, doesn't she?
Completely.
Yeah. Now, notice what would happen. So now pull that energy back out. And now notice that if you had a pedophile uncle who comes into your house, just energetically look at it. Let's say he doesn't touch anybody, but he just comes in with his energy. And what energy would it shift to?
I see just black. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it would just, and it would take over, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what it is. These energies take over. They take over. It's just like whenever you choose fear, fear will seem to override love. So love is this beautiful, pink, clear, gorgeous energy, and then this dark energy of fear. Because these are fear-based people, right? So your cousin, her energy is fear-based. That's why you're so uncomfortable. You don't have an agenda unless you've got fear. You don't try to push your agenda unless you're afraid that you're not going to get what you want. So you have fear rolling in the door. And it just seems to roll over all the good and all the lovely stuff, right? And that's why the only thing you have to do is don't open the door. Okay? So they get to be people get to be themselves. You really understand that from the relationship part of how to feel better when things get worse. Everybody gets to be themselves, but you don't have to open your door. Now look at the mind. It's that you don't open the door of your mind, right? Because house, in the Bible, house and city represent consciousness. So what's really happening is not whether or not this person comes to visit. It's that you let them into your mind a long time ago. So you worry about them, and you're like, I don't want this isn't comfortable, et cetera, right? But notice that they've already come into the house of your consciousness without ever physically being present. You see that? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this is true of everything. Every fear that you might potentially carry, it is you opening the door and letting it in. Okay? And that happens before any physical person shows up. You will have already let in that fear before there's a physical. And think about this. It's like a visitation. Like I'm coming for a visit, but think about it. It's almost like a visitation. And a visitation would be something where, you're minding your own business, you're in your bedroom, and all of a sudden, bam, something comes in that you do not like. Maybe you're seeing some dark smoke in the corner, or you can, depends how much you can feel and see. But if you're very sensitive, you can get these, dark entities showing up, and you're like, no, you can't be here. Bye-bye, right? But sometimes people just feel uncomfortable and they don't know why. Well, so these darker beings, entities, people, let's say, we don't want to really say dark because that makes it look like dark and light and, that kind of thing, but it's more like a different frequency, right? But notice that the lower frequencies come in and they just roll over the light high frequencies. And they bring in this dark cloud with them. So you want to protect yourself the way you would protect a child. And we can assure you that if you go to your mom and you tell her, please don't do this. This would be so uncomfortable for us, we can't begin to tell you. And your mom would see it the way that you would see it for your own children, right? She would give the opportunity to see it through your eyes. You've been trying to accommodate what's happening as well, right? You haven't just said, please don't do this, have you?
No, we haven't.
So if you know that if you had an imaginary child and your child came to you and said, please do not do this. It is so upsetting to me when this person is here. It's really upsetting. And you know for a fact that you would say, oh, absolutely, you're right. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. It doesn't matter what programming you have. Your child is going to override that programming, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's the piece that the two of you have, is that you can say, honestly, this is how I feel to your mom, right? And that will actually support her by you just telling the truth. And here's the thing. You did Ho'oponopono, right? I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Well, guess what? When you do something like that, it opens the door for healing to take place. And you may think that the healing is, oh, we worked through our stuff and this person came over and we survived the weekend or whatever. But isn't the deeper healing to be the recognition that you can say no? And that you can share the truth, right?
Yeah.
And that it actually supports everybody when you're honest and you tell the truth. So let us give you one more example. Suppose that you don't feel good about this and it's still going to happen. Well, we want to tell you that does not mean you have to stay in the house. You could let everybody else in the house figure it out. You don't have to stay. You can say no. Even no matter who says yes, no matter what, you do not have to do drama. You've got a car. Take a trip. Go stay someplace.
Right.
Go do something else. You are not obligated to be there. And then if
Right.
other people are like really determined to do it the hard way, let them. Okay, great. Well, we're going to go. We're going to go to Sedona and visit Heather and Amelia. So there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
See, and then there's going to be some clarity. You are personally able to bring about clarity. It's not like, well, I don't know what my mom will say. It's up to you to decide that you're going to say no. So you just go, okay, great, no matter what happens. So here's my thought. Then you let it go, and then you're going to do what is right for you, and you do not have to stay there. Now, look
Right.
at that. So look at all the scenarios. So we have the one scenario where nothing changes, no one comes over, the letter gets sent, it gets texted, and boom, it's handled, right? So then you get to stay in your lovely pink and clear and all that. And then you can have you can just take a look at the energy around it. When you see the energy go, you can then put it out and go, I choose to have energy in my home match my energy. So you don't drop your energy down to where this other person is. This is what neither of you probably realize, that in worrying about this, you're dropping your energy down to where your cousin is. Right? Because aren't you going into that? Aren't you going into the fear and the worry and the whatever it is? It drops your energy down to match hers.
Yeah,
You see?
very true.
Yep. So, nobody can come into your home without your permission. And this is part of you being a sovereign being, using your free will. This is how free will works. You don't get in the way of someone else's free will, right? You're, by using your free will, and you stay out of other people's business, but your free will allows you to say no. And how that looks can have a variety of ways. First of all, you can just not open the front door. You can just say no. You can just leave a note on the door. Hey, not happening. You do not have to open your door, and this is important to look at. But just work with these ideas so that you can get some clarity and see this within yourselves. And see what happens to your frequency, what happens. Now, it doesn't mean that your frequency has to go there. Understand that you chose to go into worry instead of going, it's all okay, it's okay what's happening, and it's okay for me to say no. Right? And so, since it's not technically your house, it's more your parents' home, right? But you can go, this is our choice. And if you're still going to do this anyhow, then how we're going to say no is going to look like this, and you make other plans. Now think about it. If you go away for the weekend, maybe you have friends to stay with or whatever, you go away while your aunt is or your cousin is there, and then you come back after she leaves, not going to impact you at all, is it?
Nope.
Nope. And there may be some drama, and there may be people wanting to talk about the drama, but you go, I don't want to hear it. because nobody had to do this way. If you want to, if you guys want to do drama and you want to discuss it later, you can do that amongst yourselves, but I don't want to hear it because you didn't have to do it that way. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are free now. We've given you the keys to the kingdom. You're free. You do not have to do this no matter what your mom decides. You have the freedom to make your own decisions. And the minute you decide, first of all, let us ask you this. If you decided that you were not going to be there if your cousin comes, if you decided not to be there, could you work that out? Would you have a place to stay? Would you have something that you could do?
Yeah.
Easy, right? Yeah, easy. You've got a car. You have friends. You could work it out. You could go have a great time, as a matter of fact, couldn't you? You could go have a lot of fun with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is no longer a problem, is it?
No.
Nope. And now you never have to think about your cousin again, ever. It doesn't matter what your mom decides or your dad or your grandma. Whatever they do, that's up to them. But now you know that you're free. It doesn't matter if she wants to visit. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. But we suggest that you make it very clear to your family, this if they don't say no for whatever reason, doesn't matter. But just make it clear, this is what we're going to do. And then remember that part that says, oh, I'll protect myself from your words or actions. So it's like, and we're just giving this, not that your family would do this, but what we're saying is that the tendency would be, these people come, and they do it, and then they're going to complain about it, right? Isn't that how it usually works? They get what they don't want because they said yes to what they don't want, and then they'll complain about it. Oh, it was terrible. Last time she came was awful, and we're doing it again. So understand that you don't want to participate in that at all. You just go, I'm happy, you guys get to do it however you want, all this, and I'm not going to talk about it with you. I don't want to hear about it. Or you might give them 5 minutes, and then that's it. You give me 5 minutes of what happened, and then we're stopping right there. So make it quick. Set the timer and stop after 5 minutes. Because isn't this type of thing something that you will talk about afterwards? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And then guess what that does? When you talk about it afterwards, it keeps it going because you're putting more energy into it. Yep.
Yeah.
So now you both know that you have power. It does not matter what anybody else chooses. You have the power to say no. And you can do it graciously, just not there, right? Nobody's home, right? You're going to take your home with you. Yeah. Okay, so now how do you feel?
Relieved, and I don't know, it feels good to take that power, your power back. Freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And make decisions like your decisions.
Yep, these are your decisions.
Yeah.
And to know that you're not reliant on anybody else's decisions. Doesn't matter what mom decides. Doesn't matter what your cousin decides. Nothing, it doesn't matter. You make your own choices. That is free will. That is sovereignty. But that is the power of no. So a big part of free will is knowing that you can say no. And how that no can show up in a variety of ways. As you can see, you just won't be there. Or you stop communicating with somebody that you don't feel good about. Or you just say, you know what, I'm going to, whatever. You can block them. You can turn off the phone. There's all kinds of things you can do. You don't have to participate. But that's up to everyone. Your mom will understand this to the extent that she does. And you know that you've got the power no matter what. And isn't that a relief to know that?
Yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we guarantee you're going to have a great weekend. No matter what, you're going to have a great weekend. It doesn't matter what everybody else chooses. You just make your own choices.
Right.
You don't have to talk, and you don't have to talk anyone into it. It's just like, these are my choices. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, either of you?
No, but thank you. That was like an awesome, eye-opening, a lot of good points, and thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Okay, girls, I'm back.
Wow.
That was quick. That was to the point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was full of so many helpful things.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my mom was, because I didn't want to interrupt, of course, so there's this part where she was talking about, like, inviting someone in. I don't know if you girls have ever seen the show True Blood or heard of the show before, but the only way a vampire can enter your home is if you invite them in. And you have to say, will you please come in? So that visual came to me, and it's like, do you really want to invite the vampire into your home? Because they can't enter unless you give them permission, and that's what this is about.
Good.
Right?
Yeah. Well, Amelia, that's a very good point, because it's what it is. It is a vampiric energy.
Yeah, it was that energy, and it was just like, and it gives me like this creepy, crawly feeling under my skin right now. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Like, it's like inviting a vampire into your home. It's like that power, Anyway, so you get it. You get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was interesting because if you think about it, that's like the same energy, this comparison of a pedophile. If you had a pedophile Uncle Bob. But if you think about it, even if the person doesn't do anything, right, doesn't actually, their energy would suck on your energy. And it's like you can see pictures, if you think about, just imagine like a pedophile putting your child on his knee or something, and he doesn't actually do anything, but he would be drawing on that child's energy, right? Absolutely. Just his thoughts would be pulling on that child's energy, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a weirdly similar energy between this cousin and the imaginary Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
It's a similar energy, right? I mean, it's not quite as dark, because Uncle Bob would have been black and she was gray, but still, it's that same pulling on your energy.
It's just a shade of difference kind of a thing.
Yeah, just a shade, right? 50 Shades of Gray, man. Something like that. So when you look at it like that, and also the other thing about your cousin is that she's pulling on everybody's energy. She walks in the door, probably just lives off of her children, for starters, and then she's just pulling on everyone's energy, grandma, the boyfriend, mom, dad, both of you. So she's got like a buffet coming to your house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, so there you go. You girls are all empowered now.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you so much. This will help out my mom and grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Awesome. But just notice that even doing something like saying, hey, I support you, whatever you decide, but we won't be here if you do decide that, then they'll know the extent to which you don't want to do it. So.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You guys are awesome. Rock. Thank you.
Sure. And just notice that when you do the work, when you work on yourselves, when you see the things, like you guys were so awesome to go, okay, we need to do work on ourselves, but notice that the solution will come. You may not know the solution, but by doing the work on yourself and by being open to something else, the solution can come, right? So that's why the okay concept works so powerfully, because if you're focused on the problem, you're stuck in it. If you're doing something where you're letting it be okay and you're doing the work that you've learned, then the solution can come. And here it is. You got it. Ta-da. Thank you for joining us at Psychic Insights. You will often hear me refer to life as a game. To understand this concept on a deeper level, listen to The Game audiobook by Heather Noel. There's also a free 60-day eCourse at thegivinggamefoundation.com. Links are in the description box. Be sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell if you'd like to receive more of these talks. Thank you.